Welcome to the Logistics of Logistics, a podcast dedicated to exploring how things get places and the people who get them there. We'll talk with logistics and supply chain leaders about innovation, industry trends, and the future of the logistics business. Now, here's your host, Joe Lynch.
Hello, friends. Welcome to the Logistics of Logistics podcast. My name is Joe Lynch. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today's topic is the market recap with my friend Chloe Castillo. How's it going, Chloe?
It's going well. Thank you for having me.
I was so excited. I think I kind of pronounced your last name correctly, then I screwed up Chloe. Damn.
You got it.
So, Chloe, please introduce yourself and your company and where you're calling from today.
My name is Chloe Castillo, aka Chloe Cass. I work at Loadsmart and I work in the marketing department.
And what does Loadsmart do, and where are you calling from today?
So Loadsmart is a Chicago-based company, and what we do is we move more with less. And what I mean by that is we use artificial intelligence, machine learning, and strategic partnerships to automate how freight is priced, booked, and shipped.
Very nice, very nice. I talked to you like 6 months ago about that. I joke up with you because we've been talking for a while before we actually got to chance to talk, but I was connected with you on LinkedIn and I saw the market recap, which you do, and I saw it and I was like, oh, this is cool. And I reached out and I said, let's do a podcast. So we've been talking about doing this for a while, but before we get into what the market recap is, tell us a little bit about you. Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to school? Give us some career highlights before you joined the mighty Loadsmart.
So I am born and raised in Chicago, a Chicago native, a little bit of a townie. I went to college still in Illinois, downstate in Charleston, Illinois, so Eastern Illinois University. And although we're small, you might know us for our notable alumni, Jimmy Garoppolo, Tony Romo, Sean Payton, Burl Ives.
Oh, well, Burl Ives not a good football player, but the other ones are pretty good football player. And when you told me that earlier, I said that Tony Garoppolo is like a model more than he is a football player. But I was like, that guy made a deal with the devil. He's got those good looks and he's a quarterback. I was like, damn you. So, but he went to, what do you call it, Eastern Illinois University?
Yes, Eastern Illinois
Very
University.
nice. How far away is that from Chicagoland?
It is about 3 hours.
Far enough away that mom and dad can't pop in unexpected.
Exactly. But still pretty close to home.
That's perfect. I told my kids, you can go to school anywhere you want as long as it's within 2.5 hours of this house.
That's smart.
Yes. Well, I'm in Michigan. There's tons of good colleges. You don't have to go. I'm 45 minutes from East Lansing, where Michigan State's at. 20 minutes from Ann Arbor, where University of Michigan. It's hard to get in there. Hard to get in state too. But anyway, so what did you study at EIU?
I studied marketing and pre-law and somehow ended up in logistics.
Of course, everyone ends up in logistics that way. So where was your first job out of school?
I started straight from college. I joined Yelp, which is another SaaS company, and they're a local business directory. As you know, we're a review platform as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've said this before on my podcast. I always feel like we're going to get to Yelp for trucking, where the driver, and we're kind of getting there, but it's a little tricky because if you think if you're a freight broker, you don't want any of your carriers to be like, oh, we're a C plus or we're 75%. Nobody wants to do that because I think most of them are like, we're really great at these lanes, not so good at these lanes. But I always think shipper locations, pickup and delivery, where you're like, hey, if I'm getting stuck there for 3 hours when I'm supposed to just go and live unload and I'm stuck waiting in line, at some point we got to have that Yelp for trucking.
I think so too. But the great thing about us is we do offer a GPS. So you're able to track your load, not so much give reviews, but you're able to see where your commodity is at any given moment.
Right. So if that's waiting 3 hours, you know. So before we get into the topic today, so wait a second. So when did you join Loadsmart? When did you join? How long ago?
I've been here almost 2 years.
So why did you, what drew you to the company? You obviously had some choices. You were at the mighty Yelp. You had choices to go a lot of places. Why did you choose to get into this business? And why specifically Loadsmart?
That's a good question. So I was very passionate at Yelp. I love to connect people to local businesses, and it's whatever they're looking for. So it's very customer centric. So when I was looking for my next career move, I wanted to end up at a customer centric company. And when I found Loadsmart, I realized that the transparency, the openness, how we care for all of our customers is what essentially drew me.
Right. Yeah, you guys are doing something different. And it's funny, I say this, and it's no lie. 10 years ago, you would have never come out of school and ended up at a logistics company. But logistics didn't have this tech element to it. It didn't have this transparency. It didn't have this customer-centric mentality that so many of the tech companies bring to the party.
100%. And that's actually what I was thinking about too. Because when you think of logistics, you think of like old school brokerage, traditional ways of doing things. And, you know, with Loadsmart, it's we automate things, we make things more efficient. And that's kind of what's exciting.
Right. Yeah. And it used to be, and it still is at some places where they go, oh, we have a real problem on this. We are going to assign a head to it, and they will now be the new clerk in charge of this problem. And companies like Loadsmart, and it's not the only one, but I'd say it's one of the prominent ones, says we will solve that problem with the technology. We might put a head on it for a few weeks or a month, but we are going to develop tech to fix that problem.
Yeah, 100%. So along with our customer-centric approach, we meet people where they are. So working on the shipper side when I first started out, there was definitely a lot of customers that weren't too tech savvy. So what I would do is I would do a lot of the stuff for them on the back end, book it, make appointments, all that tedious stuff. And then I'd be like, hey, I got you. Our shipment moved from A to B. We're good. And then I would hop on a Zoom call or a Google Meet with them and show them how to use our technology.
Right. I think we all have experience with that with our older relatives and friends. Where you're like,
we're teaching them how to use the iPad.
all you got to do is this, and you're on. Mm-hmm. My mom's like 88, and she uses a tablet. She's always on there connecting with me and my daughters. But what she always complains about, she goes, any of my friends who are still alive never would use Facebook or anything else to keep in touch, and it drives her crazy. But yeah, so we've all lived that. You've got to meet them where they're at. You can't say, no, Mom, you got to get up to speed right now. You have to go slow, one thing at a time. By the way, I know I used to work with two ladies who they were older and they had grandchildren, and they said, the only way I'm going to see pictures of my grandkids on a regular basis is to get on Facebook. And so they got on Facebook. So that's how Facebook became old person Facebook. now young people won't go on.
Well, they solved a problem that they have. Same with us. Hey, technology's hard, but you want to make more money. You want to save time. We got you.
By the way, I heard this joke, and it's kind of true. Somebody said, old people ruin Facebook, and then some old person I know said, that's because what you guys did to MTV. So now we're even.
Full circle.
Yep. So before we get into the topic today, what the hell is a loadie? I keep hearing people say loadie over there. So what is a loadie?
So I'm a loadie, and basically what that is that's what we call ourselves. We like to build a sense of community here. So anyone in the carrier sales section, anyone in the shipper side, anyone in marketing, finance, we're all loadies. It's just a way to unify us.
Very nice, very nice. It's nice to be part of a team and have a cool mascot. Did you have a mascot yet?
I don't think we have a mascot yet. I'll bring that up though. Maybe I should be the mascot.
You need to do that, Chloe. You need to say we need a mascot. And then put in the customer suggestion or the suggestion box. Also put my name on it. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about this market recap. So what is the market recap and how can I see it?
So it is a short 1 to 2 minute segment digesting what's going on in the freight market and any current events. And you could see it on LinkedIn and on our YouTube channel.
Very nice, very nice. Now that's where I saw it on LinkedIn. And I like it because before we hit record, we were talking about this, and you answered this a little bit when we were talking about what is a loadie, is this idea that you guys are doing things differently. You are, bringing transparency, bringing technology. In the olden days, in the not so olden days, and I suspect some companies are still doing it this way, the last thing they want to do is share market information with customers, because no one wants to say, hey, good news, Bob, rates are going down. And Bob goes, cool, am I paying less? Oh, no. I'm sorry, Bob. You misunderstood. I meant rates are going up still. Companies didn't do that. So you guys are a newer kind of company in that regard, in that you're saying, we're going to educate our customers.
100%. And that's what drew me to wanting to start this segment, the market recaps. I want customers to know exactly what's going on in the market and how it's going to affect how we're pricing them or quoting them.
Yeah. And, obviously COVID, I like to think we're on the other side of COVID. Who knows? Knock on wood, right? But the market is always changing. We saw a big change in the market not so long ago, but also we know there's a war in Europe. We also know that gas prices skyrocketed. We know there's some inflation. I don't know how as a shipper you can stay up to speed on what's going on. You need somebody who's going to educate you.
Yes, 100%. And that's another reason why I'm so passionate about these market recaps. I do want to make sure that everyone is in the loop on what's going on.
Yeah. And by the way, I should also mention you guys are now a unicorn over there in Chicagoland. And so you guys are moving a ton of freight. So your market research is not, $100,000 worth of information. It's
yeah, we're pretty transparent. Yeah.
So you're moving a lot of freight. So you have an understanding of what's happening in the market.
Mm-hmm. Correct. And like I said, we have all this information on our website too.
Yeah. I think, this is where the market has changed. The old school freight broker was, I don't want anybody to know my carriers. I don't want anyone to know what the rates are. I don't want to educate my customers at all, because an educated customer wants price concessions. And I think if you're a tech-centric company like Loadsmart, you go, hey, we have to get paid. We're going to get our money here, but we can also educate our customer, and they understand that your kind of customer realizes they're going to have a lot more transparency. A lot of stuff is going to be managed by technology, and that they're going to get a good price, but that you don't have to necessarily play that old game of knock $50 off, knock $25 off, and I'll give you the business. I think that's becoming more and more of an old school practice.
Yes, 100%. And that's what I noticed about Loadsmart too. We're very customer centric, and we build a lot of trust with our customers.
Yeah. Well, that's just one way to build it, is to say, hey, look, I'll tell you when the markets go down, and you're going to pay less, and theoretically, if the market's going down, I'm going to show you, what that impact is on your rates. So let's switch gears for just a minute. Before we hit record, you were saying that there's other companies associated with Loadsmart. What are those companies?
So we have other services that we offer. When you go on to loadsmart.com, you could see we have OpenDoc, which is a doc scheduling software platform to make appointments. We have Camion, which is a TMS, a truck management system, which helps things move efficiently and reduce empty miles. And we also have RFP Guide.
What is RFP Guide?
So it's where you go to see contracted lanes, and you get to price out rates.
Very nice. Very nice. So I can go on and use any of those tools. Now, is there a price to OpenDoc and to Camion and RFP Guide?
Yes, I could connect you with the sales rep to go more in depth about that. I'm in the marketing department, but yes.
So you mentioned to me before we hit record that Camion is actually truck in Spanish?
Yes, it's in other languages as well. We have a lot of carriers that the English is their second language. So it's kind of funny when they hear about Camion, they're like, oh, truck. Yes.
Yeah, I get it.
I know what this is.
Yeah. So these are all obviously technology solutions. And this is what's so different about where we're going in the space, is there's a lot of companies, and I'm not being critical of any of them, are buying off the shelf technology and then maybe modifying it for their own needs. But you guys started as a tech company, and you're one of the true, what I'll call hybrids. You have the operators and you have the techies, and it's joined together.
Yes, the loadies.
Yeah, that's what a loadie is. Half tech, half it's like that half man, half horse thing. But you guys are half
tech, half
old school
human.
operators, yeah, and half tech. Yeah, things have changed so rapidly because, again, there's companies, and probably the vast majority of freight brokers out there are trying to adapt to the new tech, and they might be buying off the shelf tools or not even, and they're still doing a lot of stuff with emails. They're still doing a lot of stuff with phone calls, and then you have guys on the other extreme where you guys are at, which is if there's a problem, you might put a person on it, but ultimately you're going to come up with a tech solution. That's kind of in your DNA.
Yes. So it goes back to what I said earlier about how we meet customers where they are. If they're not that tech savvy, that's fine. We could hop on a call together. We're in this together. And if they are, cool. They could just hop on and do everything themselves, but they'll still have a rep either way.
Very nice. Very nice. So, Chloe, I want to wrap this bad boy up. So we talked a little bit about what a loadie is. You told us, educated us. You told us what you guys are doing over at Loadsmart. And I love what you're doing with the market recap, which is really trying to educate and doing it quickly. You know, again, I think a lot of people, I click on it on LinkedIn because I love YouTube, but I don't always watch business stuff on YouTube, although I should. And I love that it's out there. I love that you're educating the customers. We talked also about OpenDoc. I'll put a link to OpenDoc. I'll put a link to Camion. And what was the other thing?
RFP Guide.
I'll put a link to, if you give me those links, I'll put those in the show notes along with a link to Loadsmart and a link to your LinkedIn profile so people can reach out and see the Market Minute.
Perfect.
So, Chloe, final thoughts before we wrap this bad boy up.
Make sure to check us out on LinkedIn. And I personally am very excited about being a part of a tech forward company where we could help everyone move more with less.
Yes, it is a good thing. Chloe, thank you so much for taking the time.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And thank all of you for listening to my podcast. Your support's very much appreciated. Until next time, onward and upward.
You've been listening to the Logistics of Logistics podcast, where we engage in conversation with experts in the logistics field. For more details, visit thelogisticsoflogistics.com or follow Joe Lynch on LinkedIn.